It starts with, in my assessment of your case, why were you stopped in the first place? My first step is to assess, what was that? Was it speeding? Was it weaving? Was it you were sitting in a parked car looking suspicious? The officer can't articulate a reasonable suspicion. That's a starting point for going after a dismissal of your case. If an officer has reasonable suspicion that develops into probable cause, then we look at how the case has progressed. And by that I mean, what made the officer think that you were under the influence? A lot of times it's an officer will ask you, did you have anything to drink tonight? They'll ask you to do roadside sobriety tests. Each one of these inflection points requires us to sit down and go over what happened. Why did the officer do that? Was that a reasonable thing to do? And what did the officer find at each one of those steps? When we get to things like roadside sobriety tests, it's very important to know that Colorado considers that a search. And if it's a search, they either have to have a warrant or you have to consent to it. So what an officer told you to get you out of your car and take roadside sobriety tests is critically important. Now here's a rub that's new. If you have a situation where it's your word against the officer's word, in the old days, the officers won those battles. Now we have a body-worn camera law in Colorado. And that body-worn camera law says that police officers have to turn on their lapel cameras. They also have to turn on their dash cams. Did you take a chemical test? If you took a chemical test, it's really important to assess, was that chemical test accurate? If you took a blood test, that blood test can be retested. Breath testing. In the old days, you could get a second sample of your breath. You could take it to a laboratory and you could retest your actual breath. That process showed how flawed the intoxilizers were, and the Department of Health eventually changed it so that the ability to retest a breath sample was taken away. That doesn't mean a breath test can't be defended. All of these things mean that when you have a DUI, what you need is an attorney who is looking at the details and trying to see if we can undo some of the evidence or clarify things that are in your favor. What you get with Mertes Law is you get an experienced former district attorney who's been doing this for a while and truly enjoys defending you and making sure you get the best possible results out of a difficult situation.